Dr. Kiza Besigye arrived at the Nakawa Chief Magistrate's Court frail and unable to walk, but determined to start the formal beginning of his trial. It was a sweat-dripping exercise that took minutes for the prison guards to move Dr. Besigye into a wheelchair so he could be wheeled into the dock in the tiny but crowded Nakawa Chief Magistrate's Court.
I do believe we shall overcome someday.
The Chief Magistrate, Esther Nyandoi, read out the charges of treason and misprision of treason that the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions has preferred against Dr. Besigye, his aide Obedul Taleh, and Captain Dennis Ola. The accused are said to have plotted to overthrow the government through plans allegedly conducted in Greece, Switzerland, Kenya, and Uganda. Dr. Besigye and Lutale were abducted in Kenya in November 2024, only to surface at Makindye General Court-Martial a week later, where they were charged with illegal possession of firearms and ammunition and treachery. The trio has to wait for their committal to the High Court before taking plea of the charges.
All the accused persons are remanded to Luzira Upper Prison, and the matter is adjourned for mention to the 7th of March 2025.
Dr. Besigye and the co-accused were remanded despite a passionate appeal put up by the Defense Counsel to at least allow evacuation of the ailing Besigye to seek specialized treatment outside the prison.
Is it a normal practice for the accused person to be wheeled into the dock when they are not suffering from any disability? For the record, he's not having any disability, but he's just sick. It's the reason he's in the wheelchair.
However, the prosecution team led by Lino Anguzu objected to the request for the evacuation of Besigye first because the investigations are yet to be concluded.
Providing logistical support and organizing for several Ugandan citizens to travel to Kisumu, Kenya for the purpose of receiving training in various military and intelligence gathering techniques.
Anguzu also claimed that there was no evidence of the need for medical evacuation.
You need to be guided by evidence. You need to make an inquiry as to the ailment. You need to make an inquiry as to whether prisons is indeed incapable of handling.
That they want him next in the casket, to say casket. I thought that would be enough to move our colleagues to say, okay, let's get a solution to this. So anyway, Your Worship, we're entirely in your hands. And the life of Dr. Kiza Besigye is entirely now in your hands.
Treatment of A1, I am constrained to make such an order as my only jurisdiction in this matter, which is a capital offense, is to communicate the charge to the accused persons, and when investigations are done, then commit each of them to High Court for trial.
Nyandoi guided during the court session that the prisoners will no longer be in the hands of the military in response to the Defense Counsel, who had protested the presence of the military inside the courtroom. Speaking after the judgment, Lukwago stated that Dr. Besigye had accepted to end his anger protest.
We want to announce officially that Dr. Besigye today has called off a hunger strike. Now that he has been arraigned formally before this court, because all along he was protesting illegal detention, being on remand without a valid or lawful remand order of court, remand warrant.
The trial of the trio in the civilian courts is in the implementation of the Supreme Court orders which annul the trial of civilians in military courts. Jackson Onyango, NTV.